this contest. So they will pull out all the stops. They will try to unbind all delegates on the first ballot, as the North Dakota Republican National Committee man Curly Howard has already publicly proclaimed. Secondarily, they will try to throw out the delegates of any states where non-Republicans were allowed to vote, even if it is consistent with state law. So if independents and Democrats were allowed to vote and they flooded the polls for Donald Trump, which, by the way, is a positive sign for the Republican Party, they will seek to throw those delegates out. Even in Texas today, even though Trump has won delegates, the Rick Perry, George P. Bush, Ted Cruz combine is refusing to fill those slots with actual Trump supporters. That way they would control those votes on any early procedural maneuvers. Remember, Trump is not without cards. He could knock out the entire Texas delegation on the basis of widespread voter fraud, which, by the way, is exactly how Eisenhower overturned the nomination of Robert Taft in 1952, by unseating the Texas delegates because the caucuses that had elected them were improperly conducted and Eisenhower voters were turned away.
Let's play this clip of one of the RNC Rules Committee heads. Just an incredible clip that's going viral everywhere. Infowars.com, DrudgeReport.com, StoneZone.com. If you want to see the full clip, we're going to play about 60 seconds of it. Simply amazing, where senior GOP official Curly Hogland, quote, "We choose the nominee, not the voters." And then she says, it's this Toto moment when the curtain's pulled back, so why even have primaries? And he goes, that's a good point. Why even vote? I mean, are we North Korea or are we the United States of America? Are we a republic or are we a oligarchy? I mean, the scales are coming off the eyes. Here's the clip, Roger.
I don't think that's the case once if it would just be understood. We have a problem with the media. Unfortunately, the cable networks are trying to determine
I don't think this is a problem with the media. I've heard from a lot of voters who say if they feel like their votes got stolen, that they would be very unhappy and very angry. I think you're looking at a different situation. I realize these have been the rules, but the last time these rules were put in place was 1976. It's been a long time since then.
Yeah, they're still there. Yeah, that's a problem. The media has created the perception that the voters will decide the nomination, and that's the concept. That's the conflict here.
We feel like we live in a democratic society. What you're telling me is it's not a democratic society, and your votes don't necessarily matter because it's a democratic representation, correct?
No, that's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to say is that we're just one of the political parties. There's many political parties, but political parties choose their nominee, not the general public, contrary to popular belief.
Then why bother holding the primaries?
That's a very good question.
Look, Gary,
that's a very good question. So they've reached this magic moment where they're out in the open. They're trying to sell the idea that they can change rules and ignore the popular vote. The Democrats are doing it as well with Sanders. And the Republican leadership's obviously sided with the Democrats. They don't care if they blow the party up. That's all part of the plan. But will they be able to survive the public's anger? And will they be able to bully the superdelegates into going along with this, Mr. Stone?
Well, look, it's not over till it's over. There's a substantial number of veterans of the Reagan 76 campaign, veterans of the Ron Paul wars, veterans even of the Goldwater campaign who are going to be rallying. Do not assume that Donald Trump will be outmaneuvered at this convention, because we aren't going to let that happen. And Trump, as someone this close to the nomination, is not without cards or maneuvers. And he can outmaneuver the kingmakers.